So this is a really cool video that popped in my algorithm. I have not watched it yet. I watched like maybe the first minute, but as I can tell, this is a really great video. Angelikatosh, if you want me to take down my video, I definitely do not mind. But this is the Gooner game argument. Without further ado, be authentic, be kind, be yourself, spread that love, and let's jump into the Gooner game argument, man. Oh, man. Oh guys, I can already tell this is going to be one of them videos because I was yapping for 5 minutes. I paused on 33 and I was like, oh, I paused on a master number. But I'm going to restart the video for you guys because this part probably makes no sense after my intro just rolled. But I went on a yap sesh about basically my girlfriend and how she first did not understand the Gooner argument. She just thinks Marvel Rivals is a Gooner game, all of that. But then when it came knocking at her door, Harry Potter, and they changed Snape to be a black guy, she saw the agenda. And I was like, yeah, see what I mean? Now you understand that it's a nuanced argument. All of this is, it's what they're doing, the pandering, the, grifting. But it's a tough argument because you end up on either side, which is something she pointed out. She's talking about how, a lot of women don't come forward, but they share the same views that want to come forward. But when you do, you immediately get shot down and you get like thrown into the whirlwind of, oh, you're like this, you're an extremist on this side. But it's like that middle ground, the regular gamers that just want to have their dose of escapism get dragged into this. Games becoming increasingly worse, politics, etc., etc., etc. And then you got people who back these games or even creators, which makes me really sad to see some of these creators I see come out and, expose their side on the matter. They could be their actual beliefs, but, for me, it's hard to tell who's grifting and who's not grifting nowadays because, you never know. But there is a true core to what is going on, true numbers being lost and everything that you can see as a result of all this going on. And yeah, let's just let, I'm going to call her Katosh for short. Let's let Katosh take it away.
When it comes to recent and modern discourse surrounding video games, especially newer ones, the focus is often shifted to depictions of women in games. How female characters are designed and what has changed now when we compare them to designs from older games. If you are at all aware of conversations like these in online spaces like Twitter or YouTube, then you know that this is a conversation that gets very heated very fast. I have weighed in on this topic myself several times, and this is something.
And this is where I paused it and I was like, good on her. Oh, I don't want to do her wrong with that pause, but good on her to touch on this, because when people call out the censorship that's happening, I will see certain creators come out and immediately be like, you guys are tripping. This isn't happening. Why would this be happening? This was possibly can't be happening. And it makes me flip that to when the government does something and then it gets exposed. And it's like, oh yeah, we were doing this the whole time, so conspiracy theorists were right. It's like, that's what feels like is happening in gaming. But I feel like the majority of gamers definitely know what's going on, especially with Dragon Age Veilguard. I seen it immediately, which Dragon Age Veilguard was the nail in the coffin for me, where I was being a chill guy on the topic and tried to see it from both sides, accepted newcomers into gaming. Some things make me think I should have gatekept. No, I'm just joking. But you see what I'm saying? It's like the middleman. Nobody worries about the regular gamer just coming home and trying to play games. And see, and they're cool. They're starting off just like me, and they could go into any direction. But, I seen it in the past with certain trailers I would react to or certain things I would get sent. I'd be like, oh, it's starting to influence everything. And then I woke up from it and I'm like, ooh. And then I seen both sides. I seen the extremists on the left and the right of everything going on in this whole debate or argument, whatever. And the funny thing is it's just like when you use common sense or critical thinking, it's like the human. Let me let her go because I can be rambling. This is probably why I should make my own video on the topic, but there's a reason I haven't, and we'll get into that.
that I like discussing and giving my opinion on because I feel like not enough women in this space feel like they can be honest.
Good
and the
on you.
reason for that is exactly what I just mentioned. The conversation gets heated very fast, all sorts of labels and mean words get thrown around. It's not really something that most people want to deal with, understandably. Lucky for you guys, I don't really care, so I'm gonna say it anyway. One of the stupidest and most hollow arguments that you will hear when you bring up the fact that there has been a very obvious change in how women are depicted in video.
Yes, there has been. And this is the minute I got to. But that's why I celebrated Stellar Blade. Even if I didn't play it yet, I celebrated it in the character designs because it's like, why are women not allowed to be beautiful anymore? It's like, use your critical thinking. They're making women more, and it's not like you can be conventionally attractive and like a normal guy or gal, you know what I'm saying, in a game, but then to go out of their way to make characters uglier, it's like something is happening there. And if you deny it, it's like, all right, to each their own. But I don't know, man. It's just
video games is that you are wrong for criticizing it, and you just want female characters to fit into your hyper femme fantasy of fuckability.
Wow, this is where I got to. Wow.
A real comment that I got, by the way, on my World of Warcraft video where I talk about how Liadrin does not look like a blood elf, or how she doesn't really fit that specific, already well-established look.
See, and I didn't play World of Warcraft this much, but when I seen this trailer of her, I was confused because I'm like, the blood elves are like supposed to be high elves, right? Or they're inspired by high elves. I was like, the whole thing around the race of high elves is right. They're into intellect and they're into high beauty and high standing, and the adornments are beautiful. Now it's androgynous beauty.
Look that we've grown accustomed to for years. One thing that is said to me over and over again whenever I bring this up is that I just want to pander to Gooners, and that unless video game characters look like porn stars, they're apparently not good enough for me. I find it so hypocritical and ironic that the people that accuse me of these sorts of things are the ones that are bringing this conversation into some very vulgar and sexual places. It is incredibly harmful to equate femininity to a term like fuckability. It's weird, and it suggests that presenting as more feminine is this thing that solely revolves around being more attractive.
Who is saying anything about Elizabeth? Well, I paused it at 144. Elizabeth from a BioShock. I almost said Borderlands. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Man. I put BioShock Infinite in one of my videos, but that's neither here nor there. But who's putting her in this argument of like she's sexualized? Oh my gosh. And you know what happens is I think a lot of these arguments and like the extremists that come out of it are due to a lack of educating themselves on the topic. Like my girlfriend, for example, love her to death. When I brought up Marvel Rivals and everything, she immediately said the headline trendy thing, oh, that Gooner game. And I'm like, is it just because there's beautiful characters and everything and that whole thing? She said, no, it's like literally like just a whole Gooner game. But see, now, when it touched her series, Harry Potter, and Snape got turned black, you start to see the agenda, because she was like, what? And then when they bully Snape, because James Potter, I think it is, Harry Potter's father, with a group of white dudes, bullied Snape, but now Snape is black. So how is that going to look in the HBO series that's coming? But this is what they're doing. They're slowly injecting different mediums. And to me, I can bring it spiritual and say like the whole spiritual perspective of, I think it's an energy harvest. Basically, these IPs that you've grown to love in your heart, they take them and now twist them against your control. And because you had such a heartfelt connection to the messages and themes and characters of these series that have changed so many of your lives, you now are angry and frustrated, and they've like flipped something that you could have been young watching on your head. Anyways, nonetheless, yeah, it's just, I'm glad she's coming forward and making this video. You're a beast for doing it. She's badass.
More attractive to men, and that it cannot just be a thing where women express themselves in this way for the sake of expressing themselves in this way.
God, I love me a dark elf, bro. Come on. Drow. I don't know what they are in World of Warcraft, but I'm gonna just say dark elf.
Expressing themselves in this way. I've already said this in my Why I Only Play Old Games video, where it's starting to feel a lot like femininity and the term in itself, especially in gaming, is becoming this like inherently evil, vulgar thing. With comments like this, my point is proven.
Why is femininity becoming like, it's not like, that's the crazy part. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, you stop a moment to think about it, it unravels all of their arguments. You take a moment to think about the argument of femininity in gaming and how like what they're doing and the little injections and changes here, and then it's like, I see what's going on. You know,
for some reason, calling for more feminine characters that aren't big, strong, muscular girl bosses or haven't had their appearance visibly toned down.
Wow, I never seen this image. Ooh. The real, like she had such soft and beautiful feminine features, which is okay because some women do have more like a masculine face, which is, they still have a beauty to them that they can replicate in a game, but they just took her face and kind of made it like, low-key feels like a like a I don't know, I don't remember the name of the shape. I'm like I keep saying trapezoid in my head, but that's not proper. That's interesting.
Toned down from their real.
And she's the Fable character, the upcoming Fable that's not coming out yet. Wow. Such a change in the lips. Flatter lips than hers. Bigger eyes. Not saying that a video game character has to be a one-to-one with the face model that it is, but still at the, you know, I don't know.
Life models is seen as equal to asking for something really offensive and crass. Demonizing people for speaking about it is wrong. Pretending that being more drawn to conventionally attractive characters is anything but human nature is also wrong. And I do think that there are definitely things that can be unhelpful in this discussion, like that one meme that somebody made with the character from Ghost of Yotei, where they added the really exaggerated chest and said,
designed with gamers in mind. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, because that's how you don't know who's grifting and who's not, because then you get, but that's what happens within all of these discussions. It's, you know,
this is made for gamers. But I see that and I don't personally take this seriously. I actually think that this is more than likely satire.
Yeah, it's like
it's
a joke,
sort of a rage bait that people seem to fall for
laugh
every time. I just know that Reddit had a field day with that one. Now, first of all, conventionally attractive does not necessarily mean sexy, but on the topic of sexy game characters, I did do a video about this very topic a while back. How do women really feel about them in games? So this is something that I actually talked to my mom about as well, but also just based on the comment section from that video, the thing that I've gathered is that what we really want are options. We want the option to be able to run around in a chainmail bikini or go full coverage plate armor, epic medieval style. You know, this is true even if you look at the sort of transmogs that girls do for their World of Warcraft characters. And I think that's super fair. And you know what game had options?
So I got my lunch from Uber Eats today, and there's a
the original Oblivion. Remember my video on censorship in the Oblivion remaster where I showed the changes in clothing and armor?
Oh, I didn't play the remaster. See, that's crazy. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't play the remaster, but do you see what I'm saying? That's why is a little bit of cleavage to show like a little bit of bust bad. That's weird, because it's like it's an attack on women who naturally have that body. Just put an in-game slider where you can put the chest all the way down for the flat-chested girls. Like put a slider that you can completely flatten out the chest. Why does every female character now have that, even in a customizable character creation game? That's interesting. And it's covered up and everything.
that were made to
And this one's not even that bad in revealing. Like,
appear less feminine on the female body. The part about them making chests smaller, taking away the things from female bodies that we literally...
Is that the statue of Debella or whatever? This is a powerful statue, dude. And see, and this is what you would expect from like divine feminine type representation.
Taking away the things from female bodies that we literally cannot help having in favor of that more androgynous look. One comment that I got on that video was that it's good that they got rid of that stuff, especially the boob armor, because that didn't exist in real life and that doesn't make any sense. And you know what?
Okay, the boob armor... You know the blanket, you know the statement that I want to say that kind of just throws it all away, but you really shouldn't do it because it kind of like just wipes away all the arguments. It's like, it's a fantasy game, but I don't know if she's going to say
that's
that.
a valid conversation to sit down and have, especially if you're going for a game with more historical accuracy in terms of things like armor. And that is something that I can totally get behind. But in taking certain options away, you do just that. You take away options. You see, in the original Oblivion, not every armor set changed on female characters. The steel armor set, for example, was the exact same on both genders.
That makes sense.
But if you really wanted that weird fantasy game look for female characters with the boob armor, you could have it as well. Sure, it's not practical, but none of this is real anyway, and if we start talking about practical, how about we don't mention the glass armor and how that would fare in the real world? The armor changed along with all of the obvious changes to make chests smaller.
Wait a minute. What was wrong with that statue?
In the real world. But the armor changed along with all of the obvious changes to make chests smaller and less apparent or covered completely, told me everything that I needed to know. It sends the message that the female body is this bad thing that we should cover up. We shouldn't bring any attention to it, and the only valid female characters are the ones that are fully covered and look like they could take down any man with their bare hands. And look, there are times when that sort of thing can be really cool. I love a Brienne of Tarth moment. I think that she's such a cool character.
Yes, she was badass. I didn't watch too much Game of Thrones because I didn't like all the, the mingling in it, those heavy scenes. It just annoyed me. But
no, she wasn't traditionally feminine, and yes, she was physically way stronger than the average woman and man. But there was a story to tell there. She was an interesting character who had this alternative take on femininity, and I didn't feel like she was that way just because. There was so much meaning there. But when every single character is made to be a sort of Brienne of Tarth, it loses its meaning. It stops being interesting and special. It gets boring. At that point, it does feel like it's being done specifically to send some kind of message. It's actually insanely ironic just how conservative the standards have gotten when it comes to female game characters, especially in things like the Oblivion remaster, for which, funny enough, I got called a conservative for pointing it out. But people were praising the changes made in the remaster as if the original Oblivion was somehow this hypersexual game with a lot of focus on the female body, a Gooner game, if you will. But it wasn't. For me pointing out that there was nothing wrong with this, I got labeled all sorts of things. And honestly, real talk, if you have a problem with this, then I don't see you as any different than the bottom feeders from over at 4chan who come into my comment section and say things like I'm prostituting myself for views when I wear a lower cut top in the video. You guys are two sides of the same coin.
Bro, and that's what I said with any argument when it comes to Sweet Baby Inc. as well, because if you're too extreme on the other side and you're not providing a valid argument where it's balanced, which again, granted, certain scenarios, certain circumstances call for different ways of approaching things, but I think at the end of the day, if you remain authentic, like if you remain authentically yourself in your take and stay pretty balanced and don't lean too far to one side, you basically can knock down any argument. But like for example, there's certain content creators I've seen that compile a bunch of stuff, I've referenced them in videos, that make very good compelling arguments against all of this stuff that's happening, but then sometimes they get way too passionate about talking about this, and it seems like they lean so much on the side where it's like that, like, I don't know, but yeah, not saying anyone specifically, but you know what I mean, is both sides of the coin have extremists, and that's what sucks, is because they're like the loud minority. Is that the right way to use that? I think, because the minority is like it's like the small minority. They're like the loud small minority as opposed to the majority of gamers on both sides. And then also the ones who are coming into gaming that don't really game. You know, the tourists, the people coming in and trying to literally change gaming from the inside out. And then it's reflected in the numbers of sales and layoffs and et cetera, and Dragon Age Veilguard. Because that game, you could write a cool character, like she said, the Brianne, I don't remember the name, Brianne, the Tariff, whatever her name was. She was a beast. Loved her character, loved the honor, loved the stalwart. Like, she was awesome. And seeing that's where it breaks their argument, because people on that side that try to come against the Gooner stuff and all that, like, don't understand that it's not the character's appearance, it's the character themselves, their motivations, their psychology, their path, their why they became the way they did, just all of those aspects, and not literally their femininity. Like, you know, it's like a man where his whole identity and character is around being a man, like a football jock or something, where it's like the only depth he has is that he's a straight footballing like guy, you know, sport guy, nothing else, nothing in between, no depth, that type of thing. That's like the types of characters we get where their whole identity is that they're, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to say it too much right now. I'll let loose in maybe future videos, but their whole identity is based around like this one aspect. You know, I don't want to say anymore, but
down
you know,
female characters and then having visceral reactions when a studio makes a character in a more revealing outfit, what we're actually ending up with are easily forgettable and generally bland designs for female characters. It's kind of like studios are afraid to make more appealing female characters. Again, easily forgettable, not a lot of effort put into their design. But even going away from like the revealing outfits conversation, I don't think that an appealing female character needs to have a super revealing outfit. A character that I always bring up in these conversations is Jade from Beyond Good and Evil. She definitely has a more alternative take on femininity. She's more of a tomboy, shorter hair, unconventional color lipstick, but she sticks with you.
So I'm writing an essay on cat.
Listen, guys, and she seems like a badass character. Immediately, I don't know who this character is, but immediately I get the vibe that it's a cool ass character.
Remember her. It's a character that's appealing not because she's this really sexy, hyper-feminine being, but she clearly is a female character that was designed by a person who has a positive attitude towards women. And that really shines through. She is strong in ways that don't necessarily mean that she has to be super jacked and she can wield a warhammer, but she's smart and that's part of gameplay. You are encouraged to find ways other than physical fighting to
You know, another big, strong character that was done and written really well for me was Karlach. Karlach the Barbarian from Baldur's Gate. She was fire. Big, strong, fiery, dommy mommy, but powerful. You know, built to be a unit. And it's like, strong woman done well. Like,
progress, and she does a really good job with all of that. I've kind of gone from making female characters less sexualized to making them super bland. More and more I find that female characters are turning into background character number 4. And it is in part because we're on this really weird crusade against these elusive Gooners that seem to be ruining everything. I don't know why I should care that somebody, God forbid, is attracted to one of my favorite female characters. Like, that's none of my business really. It doesn't affect me that somebody's over there like drooling over a particular character. But I'm enjoying it because games are meant to be fun. Part of the fun are appealing game characters, because then you have cosplayers who take on the character and show
that
their
one of the top
interpretation
left is
of it.
crazy.
And cosplay is such a great thing in my opinion because it really is open to everybody, no matter your race, no matter what shape or size you are, no matter what your background is. I remember seeing this TikTok from a plus size creator who was cosplaying a character from the anime One Piece. Don't quote me on that because I haven't watched One Piece, but I believe she was cosplaying Boa Hancock. Somebody in her comments said, well, actually, you look more like this character and you probably should have done this cosplay instead. Again, I don't watch anime, I haven't watched One Piece, so I'm not sure exactly who they...
I feel like they were talking about Velveeta. I don't know, like, if that's the character, or Big Mom, possibly, if she's plus size, I'm not sure. Which, again, like, you don't, what? I don't know.
We're referring to?
That makes me think about like when fucking black people cosplay a character that isn't black. It's like, so what?
but I know that the character that they brought up is fat. The creator responded by saying, just because I'm plus-sized does not mean I always have to cosplay fat characters. And yeah, she is 100% right, because that's not what cosplay is. This idea that attractive characters are somehow harmful and they're not for everybody is absurd. Deep down, all of us want to look good. For me, like, that's part of the appeal of cosplay, getting a character who's really attractive, dressing up as this character, and seeing myself in that character. Appealing game characters inspire people, no matter what they look like or who they are, to come up with something, their own interpretation.
That part right there. It doesn't matter what the game character looks like.
Of said character. This whole thing of not appealing to someone's fantasy or the male fantasy, in the long run, is actually perpetuating an unhealthy attitude towards women. Not allowed to have attractive characters because the Gooners might like them. Blaming attractive female characters because men are attracted to them. Just think about that for 1 second. At the end of the day,
And when you think about it, it falls apart. It's weird. It's very odd.
Is a conversation to be had here, absolutely, but the Gooner game argument is unproductive, unintelligent, and it does way more harm than good. There is this idea that women somehow cannot have this opinion that I'm expressing in this video, and that if we say these things, we're just pandering to somebody. Because how could I possibly form this original opinion without your permission? Video games are art, video game characters are art. It's also valid to criticize the art for very obviously approaching female character design with this caution against the Gooners that in actual fact is creating a hostile attitude towards femininity. Whatever side of this argument you're on, you are entitled to your own opinion. You don't have to agree with me. One thing that I will stand very firmly on is that equating femininity, just the simple concept of femininity without sexual attraction, without all of that, equating it to something really vulgar and using terms like fuckability and Gooner game, especially when you're shown examples of something really tame and just like elements that women really cannot help having. When you use such harsh language to describe all of that, you are part of the problem. That's my take on the situation. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
She's slayed.
If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. As always, huge shout out to my channel members, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be seeing you. Bye.
See, and that's the thing, guys. I don't think that's the part of the argument that they get at all. You can't, you do more harm than good to femininity when this happens. And what's funny is this whole crusade that whoever these people are on to pushing this agenda, right, are trying to act like they're doing women a justice, but it's further driving the whole gender war just in another different thing. And another thing is too, is even the whole DEI when it comes to games, or like, you know, Snape being black now. It's like you're doing more harm than good, because now look at how it's set up. James Potter, people are not going, there are going to be memes on memes. There already are memes on memes. Now that you put a black character, there's already AI videos of like, what is he going to talk about? Is he going to be like, what you mean? What you mean, Potter? What you mean? And all of that stereotype. It's like, it's whoever is pushing this agenda did a disservice to black people, putting Snape, making Snape black. That doesn't help anyone. No one asked for Snape to be cut like, this is what I mean, bro. But they like take it upon themselves to save the world. Save yourself and create your own original IPs and mediums. And the crazy part is, right? The crazy part is, and I know I'm making this a little bit about Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling's thing, is I see people call J.K. Rowling so based for her beliefs, takes, and things like that on things, right? But in this new casting thing, she, from what I looked it up, it said it, I don't know, I found like multiple sources, I could be wrong, I'm okay being wrong, that she signed off on the casting choices. And I guess that's okay. I'm not saying it's, do whatever, it's her IP. But if it's a part of an agenda, I don't know. Just saying, you're doing way more harm than good for the image of black people there. And this argument right here does way more harm for women than good. You got to make characters appealing and whatever that may be, whether they're a villain, you know, whether they're a side character, whatever it is, give them depth for the sake of depth and the art form of making characters you can connect with over making them like a one-trick pony in their personality with, like, you know, the androgynous stuff. And she didn't even touch really deeply on, you know, everything leaning towards you know, it's hard for me to say because I don't want to say, because I know I got a lot of people who respect me watch the channel. I don't know how they will feel about, you know, certain takes, so I'll just wait until it's my time to really pop off. But yes, I don't like this argument. It's so annoying, dude. It's so annoying. It's like they're very clearly making women uglier in games, and I don't get it. They're either uglier, they're uglified, they're more masculine features, squarer face. They're making, I don't know, it was Jade in Mortal Kombat bald. Like, it's just, it's like, okay, so now there's an attack on women's hair, and it's fucking crazy. I love you guys. Much love in Moonlight.